It's just one of those tropes, and I mentioned them before. You got the Buffalo guy, the tournament, you know the ones, but it's always nice to see when some rude dude just gets completely put into place by the main character. I always really like that. I feel like most people really like that. It's just a good sight to see. But on top of that, this chapter it's got my hopes up on getting some battles in the series, because that's the thing I think Build King is really missing right now, because the manga himself, like he's the best things that he performs at. He's great at world building, and he can do some really intense battles. Like he's really good at action. He's not afraid to get a little bloody and brutal. So I'm hoping that we get to see that up and coming in this next portion of Build King, where they're earning their licenses to join Build On. And a lot of people have kind of looked at it like the idea of like the hunter license in Hunter x Hunter. So I'm getting that makes sense though, because it's not like this isn't a tournament or some form of, oh yeah, we just want you to sign up and join. It's like there's clearly going to be a test in order to see if these characters can get their build license, their build on license. So I'm excited to see what exactly kind of trials and tests they go through. And the fact that like the main characters group is clearly in these guys who are fighters, like we see that very quickly, well, not quickly, like near the end of this chapter rather, of some of this guy's strength, this dude Bar. And I like his design. Like I mentioned in the last chapter, we see more of it. I'll get to that in a minute, but like we got a couple more new characters in this chapter. Like it starts essentially like where it left off in. Like you see those same characters, and I was very happy actually that there was a panel that kind of focused on that dude that I mentioned with the bandana, and he's got the weird strip hair. I think that design is really cool, and I'm hoping that character just relevant in some way. Like he doesn't need to be the guy who joins the main cast. He could even be like the bad guy for this like license arc, and I'd be pretty okay with it. Like I just want to see that character be something more than just like a background guy with the cool design, because that's always like a painful thing when you see one of those dudes and it's just like, why was this design skipped? But after that, we get obviously an explanation about like the build on license stuff, and it's like a yearly thing. And on top of that, you have people from other groups looking for new talent to bring into their own building groups. And you see like some of these guys, like you have some like almost samurai looking guys, like kind of like some vagabonds. You see the short buff dude with the mask. There's like these little cute gnome girls like one around. They got like actually I guess like one of them has a broom, so maybe they're more like witches. And some like ninja dudes. I like those designs. And then we get this guy Smith. I don't know if it's like I imagine Smith first, which makes me wonder like is there like a Smith the second? Because it's not like it's Smithy or anything. That's clearly like a number to like first, second, or third. But I like this guy's design too. I think he looks pretty badass, and he's got like a torque wrench on his back. He's just got like he's just a big buff dude. He's got like rhubarb like piping wrapped around as a headband. I think this guy definitely looks pretty cool. He's just got some big meathead vibes, but at the same time, he's talking about how, he just got back from a job that took a year, and the launch party lasted a whole week. So they'd been partying for like a straight week, and he's like talking about how like he's trying to get like bum a liver off of Nana and Akaya, and I'm wondering like if the series has anything like that, like easier healing or something like that, because I know in Toriko there were ways to like regrow limbs and obviously like organs and stuff. It's not impossible. I can't remember exactly how long it was supposed to take. I think like normally for like a normal person, like regrowing a limb would take you like it was like 2 or 3 years or something. So it's still possible if like a character, a much more easy way I would imagine than in real life if you were gonna somehow get a new liver, or if there's methods to healing it. But either way, I like this guy. I thought he was pretty, he was pretty interesting, and I very much enjoyed. I mentioned in the last chapter review. I very much enjoyed seeing characters that Nana is related to, because he's a character that was introduced, and we didn't really get anything from him outside of like the gag stuff. But I like seeing how we're getting new characters introduced without having to like take time to have like earning their trust or something for the main cast, because this guy Nana already has some form of ties to them through work and experience and stuff. And then like we get this other guy. I don't know. We got like some like handsome dudes. Like what is this guy? Nariyuki and Noshimitsu. I don't really care about them. I like the dude Gallon do, just because like I really liked his hat, and apparently he's like an undersea builder. I thought that was just cool in the idea of it, but I liked his design. I thought his design was pretty fair. Like just in general, like he's got like this hat over his face, but he's got goggles on, but his goggles are like right where his eyes would be. So I'm wondering if like he can see through those. Like maybe it's not just a hat, like if it is literally like some form of deep sea diving thing, like maybe he pulls it down and it covers up like into that like collar piece and it like forms a seal so he can survive under there. I don't know, this is kind of just some speculation because he's got like a breathing apparatus too, so I would assume that it's part of it and not just a hat. Either way, I like that guy's design. I thought his was pretty cool. And they're like talking to Smith first. I'm just gonna call him Smith. But they're talking to him and saying like how they heard he's supposed to be the proctor for the vigor methods of construction exam this year, and he's just like, wait, what? I am? I thought that was pretty funny, just because like I would feel really bad for this guy. Like he's showing up to this event, he's got to be there. Like obviously this is a big deal thing going on, and he's gonna have to be there, and he's clearly still hungover, and on top of that he's got like apparently a responsibility thrust upon him that he's got to do. That would, again, it's just a string of unfortunate things that I've kind of like stacked on this guy. I mentioned that kind of like when Nano was out in the ocean, he's just trying to take a dump, and like after that, like getting his shipwrecked, and he just wants to relax a little bit, and then he gets on, he found the house beast, we know it's 2x4, and then things just kept getting worse for him from there, and he even stole his pants. It's just some of those stacking problems that are minor, but they just spell out like a bad day for some of these guys. And I can kind of relate, and you just, maybe like you wake up late and then like forget to make lunch for work or something, and then stuck in traffic. It's just those small things that just kind of ruin your day. There's nothing kind of crazy, but you can kind of vibe with them on a personal level of just like, man, that is just a shitty turn of events for you, dude. But then we get back to Tonkachi, who's very happy to kind of like be around all these other characters. He's like, let's do our best together. He's just trying to get along with all of them, and we get the first dude, Bar, who doesn't seem to take too kindly to, them just showing up. He's like talking down to them and talking to them like they're kids. And granted, Tonkachi and Renga, like, we don't know how old they are. I don't think it's been stated. Like, we have like a couple units of time. Like, I just assume they're somewhere around like 15 or something. It's just my guess. I don't think there's been any statements of how old they are. Maybe we'll find out soon. Like, whenever they get their licenses, it'll say their age on them or something. But this dude, Bar, he looks cool. I like he's got like this kind of like almost like primate design, and on top of that he's got like this badass kind of like bricked overalls and like these all these bolts all over him, and like even in this headband, and his hair just looks really cool too. I like his multicolored hair, and on top of that he's got like this monkey who swears a lot, and he carries around this curl bar. He just looks badass. Like this is just a straightforward meathead design. Kind of like the Smith dude. Like his design isn't too crazy, but at the same time, it's likable. He looks cool, and he's got like a fly around him because I guess like he's dirty. Like he mentions that he was even raised by in the wild by animals, so it makes sense why he's very crude and doesn't have a lot of tact to him. He just seems to be kind of a very blunt and aggressive guy. But while this fly is like just causing some problems, like Cork tries to swat at it, hits this guy, and I like, if it was just like some form of accident, like Cork was just going through the fly and that's what set off the interactions between these guys, I'd kind of see from his perspective why he'd be mad. But he was mad, he was like mean from the start. Like he immediately was mean to Tonkachi and Renga, and like he goes in and even like makes fun of Renga for being kind of, like a small dude, because Tonkachi's at least muscular, but Renga looks pretty normal. He's like calling him a beta and saying like he bets his balls haven't even dropped, and I'm like, dude, why are you being such a dick? And I this was the scene I was very happy. I was waiting. I was like, I just want to see this guy get humbled, and I was very pleased to see that happen. When he goes and swats and hits Renga at the fly, that clearly, like, Tonkachi was not gonna be happy about that. He takes it more like less of pissed off and more of like he's just mad, and he just slaps the hell out of him. Like when when Bar hits Renga, it looks like a normal, like, some dude just hit another person. Like, it knocks him back a little bit. It doesn't look crazy. When Tonkachi slaps him, like, he goes flying back. He hits, like, the stairs. You see damage. Like, there's rocks and debris just, like, scattered around. And he gets up mad, goes for, like, this big punch. And, there's even a mention from the monkeys, like, oh, this, a single punch from him can smash boulders. And you see, like, a short flashback, just, like, a little panel of him putting all these cracks in this. And we know that, like, Tonkachi is powerful from the start. We don't know, like, where he ranks overall. Like, I'm just assuming it's, like, the normal, like, the standard main character thing where he just starts out above people generally would expect him to be. Like, if we get, like, any more seasoned, like, fighting builder guys like Tonkachi is gonna be, he's probably gonna not, he's gonna get easily, like, put in his place by him, I would assume. I doubt he would be, like, top tier already. I feel like that wouldn't be, make sense. But, like, this guy, he goes to, like, this cool attack. I like his style of dismantling fist. So I think that's just really cool. I really like how, like, when Tonkachi was talking about, like, when he's got his hammer and he was, like, getting ready to smash up the upside down castle, and he mentions how he's going to, like, like, he's, what was, like, the exact, like, I think he said dismantling as well, or, like, he essentially wanted to, cause, it was, like, destroying the previous foundations of the building. Like, it was just breaking floor construction. It wasn't the same as, like, I'm just gonna smash stuff to smash stuff. Their attacks and everything is centered around the ideas of, things involved in construction. So this guy's dismantling fist, I thought that was really cool, because, like, the idea of it is the same thing, where it's, like, he's not punching it just to cause, like, destruction. When he's using this technique, it's to, like, destroy something in the way of construction in some way or another. But he goes for this big punch. You see the shockwave. People are being pushed back. And Tonkachi is unfazed entirely. And it's not even like when we saw him fight the boss House Eater, like, Tonkachi caught it like it was nothing, but it pushed him forward a little bit. Because he was facing Renga, and you could see in his feet it kind of, like, skid along the ground a little bit. But, like, when he got punched by Bar, like, it just looks like he just went up and pressed against his face. Like, Tonkachi doesn't move. He looks like he took 0 damage. He doesn't even look like he felt anything. It just looks like he just, like I said, like, he just walked up and touched him. Like, it does, like, he was, like, sweating from Tonkachi, not even phased. And Tonkachi just thinks of, like, because when he hit him, he squished that fly, and Tonkachi just thinks, like, oh, you were aiming for the fly, thanks, man, I really appreciate it. And he's, like, hugging this dude, being buddies with him. I really like Tonkachi so far. Like, as a main character, I think he's got that same soft yet badass kind of vibe to him. Like, if he's not in a fighting mood, he's just a pure souled happy little dude. But then it's like he gets in a fighting mode and he's just like, all right, I gotta fuck you up a little bit, and gets his hammer out. He didn't even have to take his hammer out in this scenario, actually. I was gonna say, like, just in general, like, when he gets more serious at fighting, but he didn't even have to take his hammer out against this guy. I'm curious to know if he would have even had to go into, like, 5 meters for his hammer to body Bar. Well, this other dude shows up and grabs his Bar's fist when he goes to try and punch him again. Eliwoder, I don't know how that name is supposed to be pronounced. Eliwoder or whatever. But this guy looks kind of cool. I like his design. He's got, like, this kind of cool guy vibe to him. He's dressed pretty fairly, but he's like, he shows up, he's got his eyes closed, one of his eyes is covered. He just has that persona and just presence of him as the guy who's always gonna have cool lines, and, like, his moves, instead of being, like, muscular meathead style big power, it'll probably be, like, more swift and just done in a more, like, majestic kind of, like, style. You know what I mean? Or it's just like, oh yeah, everything I say is more for the drip factor kind of thing. But I really want to see that guy with, like, the weird, like, strapped, like, almost dreadlock style hair. That guy, I think, is just the only design that I've seen recently that is that I would place above that is in the previous chapter when we saw them talking about the build on just people, and you saw that little guy on the shovel. I thought that guy was a really cool design character. But at the very end, we also get that guy with the mask. Like, he gets shown again, so it's clearly he's going to have more value, which is good. But at the very end, you see this character who I'm guessing is going to be either a proctor or a high-ranking builder. Maybe it'll be some form of more seasoned person. Like, oh, this is, like, one of the top 50 builders in the world, or something like that. I'm guessing this is a woman. just from like I can see a little bit of boob shape from the outfit, but I do like the design. The weird afro is a little bit strange, and then like you see these like nails like are like just driven into the design. But I like how the front two look are kind of sticking out, so it's more like horns. You have this cool like Oni mask with all these keys around on the necklace. I think this was actually a really cool design. At first, I wasn't too sure, just because I was looking more at the weird afro, but I actually like it, and the way that kind of flows into these more scary, kind of like stringy hair pieces. I do like this. I thought this was actually a really cool character introduction, and obviously like these other characters are like a little bit nervous just from the presence around this individual, and you even see like this aura coming off of them. I don't think a name was mentioned at all, so I was looking really close just at this last couple parts, because I didn't want to skip a name if a character did get a name. That always bothers me if I always like just completely gloss over a character having some form of indication of who they are, or like I said, like a name. But either way, this was a pretty solid chapter. Like I've mentioned, I always like it when, doesn't matter the series, when you have like a character just showing up, being rude to be a jerk, and then they come across the main character, and then they're going to be mean to the main character, and you know that it's just like, they're going to beat your ass at some point, or at least put you in your place. Like, this was that example for Build King, and I did really like that. Like, clearly Tonkachi, if he decided to actually fight against Bar, he would have put Bar in the dirt. Like, he would have put this guy, there would be a silhouette, there would be a silhouette of this dude's body indented into the ground if Tonkachi decided to punch back. So, I did like this chapter. I thought this was pretty solid. I'm really hoping that we get some good action scenes in the upcoming couple chapters. I think that's just one of the things that will be vital for the series if it, it's going to survive the axe. Because I do think generally people look at it right now more from the carpentry aspect, and they're like, why would they want to read something about like building stuff versus like how it's an action adventure shonen with building as like a theme to it. It's just kind of like a tying piece, but it's obviously going to have battles and like normal stuff that you would get in a shonen series like this. So I think we just need to get to something like that to kind of display a little bit, get people a little hyped for the series. Because like it'd be the same thing with Toriko, but Toriko got to a lot of its action aspects way earlier. Like you get a good couple like fight scenes, like even by chapter 10, if you go back and if you read Toriko up to chapter 10, there's already a good couple just general action scenes where it's like Build King has focused more on the main cast and the world building and kind of just setting up like the style of the world, which I do like. But I'm really hoping that it can pick up and either maybe like the first volume will sell pretty well and maybe people will give it a chance, because I do like it. I do genuinely think this is a pretty fun series. I like the art. I like the cast. Like I said, the main character, like I already really liked Tonkachi. I really liked in this chapter when he had more of a funny moment, while at the same time having Bar being like, what the fuck? Like, his punch didn't do anything to this dude. He didn't even move him. Like, Tonkachi just had part of his face, like, pushed up against. But other than that, though, comment below. Tell me your thoughts about this. Like I said, I genuinely really enjoy this series. I think it's a lot of fun. I'm hoping it survives that axe and can continue on. Because it's one of those ones where if you let it play out, I think it's going to evolve into, like, a very memorable series. Like, anybody who's actually read Toriko knows, like, the style of worlds this guy can build. And in a world that also has building involved in it, on top of, like, him being a great world builder, I think has a lot of potential. But we'll see. I got my fingers crossed for the series. But anyway, other than that, though, comment below, thumbs up the video, but from the like button, subscribe button, and check out my other videos. But other than that, I appreciate everybody's already subscribed. Thank you all for listening. Bye.